it's easy to point to it as some people say, a Sputnik moment or um, because it's easy for like everyday citizens to see. And it is significant in many ways. But we want to be careful of not taking instances like this, the hype cycle, and using that to further fuel extremely rapid development without necessary safeguards in place. So just being mindful about the potential feedback loop of the rhetoric around the race itself. Chinese companies, even if they are relatively very independent, they're still within that legal structure, uh, within that political system, and held. They're bound to expectations that go along with that. That uh, it's hard for them to escape expectations of censorship, especially around the central topics that the Chinese government is not in favor of.
发言，大家认为，去年面对复杂严峻形势，我们国家加大宏观调控力度，既实现了较快增长，各项事业、教科文卫体等领域代表座谈会，听取对政府工作报告的动能不断增强。同时，我国发展还面临不少困难挑战，要准确把握。在听取大家发言后，李强指出，改善民生，促进居民增收减负，提高生活品质。吴正龙参加座谈会，政府工作报告征求意见稿已向各地区各部门同步征求意见。
Interesting about DeepSeek itself is this is like a privately held and developed firm where the founder Liang he ran his own hedge fund, quantitative fund, and has funded pretty much the whole thing. And so this specific company has come up somewhat, independently, organically relative to our, people's broader understanding of the Chinese tech ecosystem. Now that given all of the international attention on the company, that may shift moving forward.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said,
we're seeing it yesterday and today already from President Trump, from industry leaders like Sam Altman, of saying, kind of incorporating that back into the classic American narrative of, okay, we are going to compete and innovate and use this as motivation. I think that's a good strategy from their perspective. In terms of, there is a lot of talent around the world. We have a lot of it based in the US, but in order to stay relevant, stay nimble, and adapt to this really fast developing field, there would be many approaches that will yield different and quite varied results.
These two sides of the Blackwell chip have no clue which side they're on. There's no...
Yeah, so I think for the markets, there are two really key things to keep in mind. The first being the monetization strategies that the US firms had developed before of maybe they can charge, by a membership, by token, and make it back some of this huge investment they've made. And now this is really upending that approach. The other side of this is a lot of the core focus of, and rightly so, of the industry being on compute resources, so high-end semiconductors, Nvidia being one of the top companies there with huge market value that has had quite the impact. And the reason that is the case is mostly because DeepSeek has claimed to train this on far less compute, far less advanced semiconductors, and in not very much time. And so if that is true, there's a bit of disagreement on this in the field, and people are looking into this. But if that's true, it may indicate potential paradigm shift towards a less compute intensive era of AI development. I think there's a lot of temptation to react quite strongly to that. And at the end of the day, compute is just fundamentally going to matter, even if companies find more efficient ways to use it.